Welcome to Winners, Wallets, Worldviews. I am your host, AJ Armstrong. This is Winners, Wallets, and Worldviews live every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's 7 p.m. Central Time. You can find this on my Facebook page if you want to participate live, or you can listen to this, which is a pre-recording of our event. With me, I have my co-host, Michael Gehrman, who is creative director for Armstrong Ventures, as well as the owner of Michael Gehrman Filmworks. We also have Dan Spanbauer, who's my producer, business developer, and also owns the company Spanbauer Free Solutions. So guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Winners, Wallets, and Worldviews, the only show that's going to teach you
how to be somebody.
Where in your life did you learn that you're not good enough?
Take what you're most passionate about and what you're most fearful of. What is the plan to overcome that fear? And what is the plan to enact that passion?
Today, though, we got a lot of stuff coming at you. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about perseverance. I'm going to share with you guys a couple client success stories. I'm going to share with you another personal story of my own. And finally, we're going to wrap things up with a story about this Russian man left for dead in a bear den. And then we're also going to finish up with some spoiler-free and spoiler analysis of Spider-Man Far From Home, which is going to incorporate the hero's journey and how that works. So, guys, welcome to the show. I wanted to go into a little bit of just some opening monologue here tonight. Now, one of the things I saw coming up, usually the personal struggles I go through throughout the week are the same struggles that some of my clients go through. So I want to tell you a one story about a kid. He came up to me when I was doing one of my speaking events. And right after, I didn't really do a lot of selling from the stage at this point. He came up, he says, how do I work with you? Because there's something about the confidence that you have that I really love and I really want some more of that. So I said, well, what are you looking for? What do you need? And he says he works in sales. He sells life insurance. And what he wanted was the confidence to be able to get on the phone and just make a freaking phone call. He just wanted to be able to get on the phone, make his calls, because he knew that if he could make 10 calls a day, those 10 calls would convert to at least one sale. And that's it. That's what he wanted. He wanted the accountability. He wanted someone to sit there with him and stick with him and hold him accountable to making his calls every single day. So what did we do? We came up with a plan. Okay, so we made a graph. And this is what I did, is I wanted to be able to see progress. People need to be able to see progress, just like a scale, just like all these types of things, right? You need to be able to see the results in front of you. So what I did is I created this system. We had a chart, and every single time he would make a phone call, we had it plotted on a map, and then we built a graph, and this graph turned into something that looked like an actual curve, and we could see every time he made a call, how it transitioned into sales. To this day, we've been working together about 3 months now. And this guy is completely rocking the house. He's about to replace his entire income that he was working bussing tables, and now he's going to be in sales full time. So these are some of the things you can do when you start to build accountability systems with you. I'm going to share a second story about perseverance and how you guys can overcome some of these things that you're afraid to do and persevere. So a lot of people don't know this, but I was almost kicked out of West Point when I was a sophomore. And I was almost kicked out of West Point, and I was falsely accused of a whole bunch of things. And what I ended up doing was I had a choice, because when you're a sophomore at West Point, you have a decision to where you can actually decide to commit to the Army in your 5-year commitment in your 3+ year reserves at your sophomore year mark. But before that, the education's free. So your freshman, sophomore year is free. Once you make that decision, you're now committed to the Army your junior and senior year. And I was going through this whole thing over that summer. But what did I do? I wanted to stick with it because I knew what I did was right. I knew everything about my story was right. And I stuck with it. And what I did over that summer, I made the commitment to the Army. Now, if I would have gotten kicked out at that point, I would have had to serve 5 years in the Army as an E4 non-promotable. But what I did instead was I persevered. I went through this entire experience to make sure that I was getting justice, make sure the truth was coming out. And what happened was I got through it. I was unfounded on all these types of things, and then all of a sudden, I was given the opportunity to finish my education. So there's a lot of different stories that you guys can run through, and I want to share those 2 examples with you because everyone goes through struggles, everybody goes through these things in their life that make it very difficult to persevere. And I know that you guys have gone through stuff before, and one of the things that I think totally changes someone's life is you're not made great in the great moments, you're made great in the worst moments of your life. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I know, like, when you're being challenged with something really hard, I think that's like when it shows your true colors, really. Because it's when you're doing good and like everything's like very mellow, it's pretty easy to just be fine. And then, but like when you're being challenged, when you're having to get through something, overcome something, that's when you really get like, that's when, what do they call it? They call it grit.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's when it comes through. So
Well, there's something about like in sports, I think is just always a really good example, because you're not like, you don't get stronger in fitness, you don't get better faster in sports when you're in the strong moments. Like, you're not born with the gift, you have to work through it, and you work through it by finding a weakness and persevering along, right? And I think that's like when your money is made on the 5th gasser, the 6th gasser, the 7th gasser, not the first one, not the second one. You're not just born fast, you're not just born in that situation. And that's like the thing, it's like people are made in those moments that are just incredibly challenging, And I think that's one of the things that we've started to notice as we've worked with these clients that all go through it. And it's like, everybody's in the same fight. He calls me, he's like, when is this going to get easier? He's like, I made all these sales calls, I started making this money.
is it gonna get easier?
Well, he's like, when am I going to arrive? And I'm like, you're not, dude. The whole thing is the journey. It's a perpetual change.
Well, and like that's just it. Like, I think a lot of people go into business or entrepreneurship thinking, I'll get my freedom. I'm getting out of my 9 to 5.
I'm free from the 9 to 5. I'm ready to go.
But it's like completely opposite. It's like you giving up your 9 to 5 for your 80 hours a week.
Right.
Because now you're running your business, and a lot of people they go into it thinking, I'm gonna have all this freedom. And while you have freedom and flexibility is like what you can do with your time, it's actually, you're spending a lot more time on your business.
Right.
And I think people have that misconception about starting your own business. It's like,
people are doing this for the wrong reasons. So like, we all want freedom to some level, and that's one reason why people become entrepreneurs. But I think a lot of times you should be doing it because first of all, there's some gift within you that needs to be revealed, right? Like, you're extremely talented. You CEO of Mike Garman Filmworks.
I have to put that in my card.
CEO, owner. Because you've got like this great way of like creating visual appeal, right? And we're gonna find out, I guess, on the actual air how this looks.
Well, this is the first one. We'll always speak it.
Yeah, this is great. This is like, we're trying like this live streaming stuff out, and I don't know, we're gonna see how this looks. But what I want to see is like, people take their talents, take their skills, and explore them in the pursuit of serving others more than, I just want freedom or just like cash money flow, all that stuff. It's like, how do you find out what your weakness or what your strengths are, and how do you get them to the world, right? And I think that's the way we need to shift the way we're thinking about entrepreneurship, and it'll allow you to enjoy the experience and the journey so much more. Well, guys, so I just want to introduce myself really quickly. My name is Aaron Armstrong. I'm the CEO of Armstrong Ventures. And what I do is I work with I do personal coaching one-on-one with people. And what I do is I really focus, and I would say my specialty is accountability. Is making sure, like, you guys know what to do for the most part, right? I don't have an exorbitant amount more knowledge of anything than anybody that I work with or my clients. In fact, most of my clients know more about their subject or their career than I do. What I do is I take what they know and I make them stay consistent with it, right? We all know that we could walk more, or we could exercise more, we could eat better, and we could get a result in the gym. But we also don't do it. Why don't we do it? Because we don't have that person accountable to us. And that's the whole thing. It's like, we all know this stuff.
It's the idea, I don't know if you've seen The Circle yet?
No.
Oh, with Tom Hanks. And,
we got to talk about
we're going to be talking
about some good.
But oh my gosh,
stuff
it's the epitome of like social accountability.
Mm.
It's like where you're completely watched by everyone, all your peers. It's kind of scary. I definitely recommend that.
Well, that's if you're in the book, it's back here, Principles by Ray Dalio and his company at Bridgewater. Mm-hmm. They have like all these algorithms and AI and all this stuff that measures people's behavior, so that everything is transparent like that. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it's created an optimal solution of ideas. It's really cool. It's you have a lot. He has invested a lot of resources into creating a system like that. But everything is like radical transparency, just to get the best idea out there. I think it's kind of cool.
I mean, like the idea of being accountable, like others are watching.
Yeah.
Others are holding you accountable. Then it's like if you know that, you act a different way. You do. You act as if people are going to see this.
Well, my wife Marissa, she's a trainer, right? And she's like, yeah, when she walks away or turns her back or whatever, her client's going to get the same amount of reps as when she's watching them. And it's that, it's like that authority bias, right? That like when someone's watching and holding you accountable, you're going to be like way more likely to stick with something because you feel socially obligated to do it.
Yeah, and like that's why in corporations we have managers and directors. And
that's the whole point.
It's the whole system of keeping people accountable because like apparently we're not so good at doing it on our own, And I think it's human nature that we're not good at keeping ourselves accountable,
right?
Because it's part of our sinful nature. It's part of our the way we were made.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's like, of course we have to hold each other accountable. So
we're inherently made, and if you believe this, I guess I take that Hobbesian view on life, and that Christian view on life. We're like, yeah, we are inherently evil. We desire things out of excess, whether that's food, whether that's lust, whether all these types of things. And it's like you need those resources in your life to try to pull you back, so you are sticking with the things that you value most, or that you ought to value most, right? And it's like that. I think right there is one of the reasons why clients reach out to me. Why I think we have the ability to stay consistent with each other. I mean, CEOs today, even entrepreneurs that are really successful, they don't have coaches, they'll have a board of directors, right? Because they need adult, they call it adult supervision. Mm-hmm. They'll have mentors, or like very good mentors, I mean, when Mark Zuckerberg, freaking Facebook exploded when he was 24 years old, first thing he did was he hires this they call it in Silicon Valley parental supervision. Mm-hmm. It's because like all these young CEOs don't know what the hell's going on. They need people to hold them accountable to things, and they create this board of directors. And it's like, that's just, you can do that with a coach, you can do that with a group of friends, but at some point, you know what you need to do, right? Yeah. We have Google. We've got freaking information up the ass. Unlimited information in this world right now. And you know what you need to do. There's books at the library I can walk over to right now with all the other homeless people and just go hang out in there for the day. But you can go into the library and get unlimited information at your fingertips. Everybody knows what they need to do. It's just like, that's the reason why I think it's the thing that stops people is their accountability for themselves. So that was my long-winded rant on why I think accountability matters. What do we got next? I think we're going to talk here quickly about this one story that caught our attention. When we talk about perseverance, so there was this dude.
Let's see if I can bring up the
photo. If you can bring up this photo,
give me a second.
You guys are going to be blown away. So I'll give the background, and then Mike's going to pull up a photo here. So this guy... It's
disturbing, just to warn everybody.
This guy was like out in the wilderness. I don't know what he was doing, if he was a hunter or something like that. And he's in northern Russia. It's like Siberia area. And he gets completely mauled by a bear and left to die. And the bear drags him into his bear den. And then the bear sits there and just leaves him in the corner. And he's completely paralyzed. He broke his back, so he can't move his legs or his arms. And then what happened was, a few weeks later, this hunter, his dog starts running up to the bear den. Or no, it was 1 month later. That's a big part of the story. 1 month later, this dog runs over to the bear den, starts sniffing around, and keeps barking. So this hunter comes over there and finds this dude alive after 1 month of being paralyzed in a corner in a bear den this entire time. Do you have the picture up, dude?
I'm trying to find it.
I'm trying to get it.
Yeah, you guys got to see this picture. Dude looks like a mummy. I thought it was a freaking mummy when I first saw this guy pop up. And what ended up happening was, I was like, okay, what's the first question? Like, how did this dude survive this shit?
Yeah. And then, when you sent me the story, I was like, first of all, the picture's really
It's The Revenant Part 2.
It's The Revenant.
It's the real Revenant.
If you've seen The Revenant.
That one with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio, which is, it's a good movie. Oh my gosh. It's just... I don't even know. I don't understand.
So
exactly.
The dude, somehow, I started reading some other articles, because how does this dude survive this thing? He drank his urine for 1 month because he couldn't move to get water. So the dude stays in the cave, drinks his urine. He doesn't eat, so he's emaciated. I'm telling you guys, he looks like a mummy. And then this freaking hunter goes and finds him, and he's alive, somehow miraculously. Talk about freaking perseverance, guy. That's what fucking...
And if you've seen The Revenant, it's Yeah, okay. If you want to
Well,
go.
Reverend-
Okay, warning, this content is really graphic.
Yeah, a little warm people.
I was not, yeah, oh my gosh.
Did you pull it? Did you
Yeah, I
pull
pulled up the picture. It's, don't stay on it long. It's gross.
Can you see that?
He looks like he's dead. He's a mummy. And now there's ads popping up.
Yeah, this is like. So you guys want to talk about perseverance? Dude, freaking. So Revenant is actually a story. I guess they had two running themes. One was perseverance, but I think it was more perseverance in spite of vengeance, which isn't necessarily a value that we would condone here at the Armstrong Ventures home. But I think that the idea of like this guy somehow crafting his way to survival is fascinating. Like what the human mind goes through and how people can come up with that kind of crap, you know. But anyway, dude, Revenant Part 2. Is that photo still up, dude?
Yeah, it's
People are
still
probably
up.
like, shit, dude.
Everybody's gonna get out of here now. Nobody's gonna watch us again.
Really dumb.
You guys put on that stuff. Oh,
I don't know.
No.
It's one of those things. I don't know. Like, you hear about that shit all the time. Like the Revenant movie kind of sucked actually because it was like the same thing. Leonardo DiCaprio was like all messed up, but then they're like falling into frozen ponds and all this crap with like his like bear skin.
like throughout the whole movie, you're wondering when is he gonna die?
Yeah.
Because that's the whole like. But he survives through the whole thing, and it's like, when is he gonna die? Like because he's like getting attacked by the bear, and have like it's like everything leading up to like. But what keeps him going? There's another element in the movie that's kind of constant is the idea of the breathing.
Yeah.
Which actually like having watched that and I like being a yogi and practicing yoga myself, like it's like that breath that connects you. Like I was like, oh my gosh, it's just this one long yoga exercise because it's like that all you have to do is breathe, and that's like that was what was connecting him and his son. And
you think about like
that's the whole thing.
The most primal like form of life is really like breathing.
Just
right?
breathing, yeah.
Which is why that's so interesting. And for those of you guys too that like haven't ever practiced, you know, intentional breathing in whatever that is, whether it's like Lamaze breathing to yogi to like yoga to meditation, it's like there's so many things that you can benefit your body from intentional breathing like that. And it's just like it can help you get through pain. Like there was what was it, some like monk or something during they used to I guess do this all the time, but like there were like these monks in Vietnam that would burn themselves, but they were in such a deep meditation state they would be completely on fire and they would just sit there until they died because they would like control their breathing to that level. And I'm like, how do you even breathe when you're freaking on fire like that? Like
That would be a crazy meditative state. I don't understand that one.
well, there's these dudes like they live up in like the Himalayas or something, and they sit there in like these ice cold caves like up in the mountains, and they've dedicated their whole life because they believe that I don't know if I believe any of this shit, but like they think you can rise the vibration of the earth through like constant consciousness, you know,
Yeah.
kind of people. And but they'll like freeze, like it's like frigid temperatures, and they just sit there and they'll just like their entire life. They'll grow their fingernails way out, like, and just sit there completely nuts, like in these meditative states.
Well, because like I have heard about how meditation actually has a physical effect to your brain.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
so there's like a lot of actual science behind it, or they've done like CAT scans or like MRI scans of people's brains that have meditated over long periods of time.
Yeah.
And like there's actual physical changes that happen.
Well, if anything, too, it's just like a really good, like at the very least, it's a really good stress coping tool because like what it does is you focus on your breathing, so you're disconnecting your consciousness from all that crap that's going on in your day, all the problems, all the worries, all this other stuff. And by coming into just focusing on your breathing, you're creating this space for yourself to where you can actually allow like creativity to come in. And I do like Marissa and I meditate all the time, and it's just like this really, you know, happy, peaceful, zenful experience that only takes about 20 minutes, and it feels like you got 6 hours of sleep. You know, it's just really nice.
Well, and I think that's a big part of what, like in our society today, is becoming more popular and more part of everyday life. Is like everybody's living these stressful, hectic daily lives, and that's why meditate. Like, there's so many meditation apps compared to like a year or two ago.
Oh yeah.
Now there's so many, like there's daily, you know, Calm. Like there's even like Chris Hemsworth's new app, Center.
Oh really?
It's a fitness app, but it also has daily meditations, and so it's like everybody's needing that because they're needing that calm, and what that just focusing on your breathing, what it does actually, calms down your central nervous system. So it's like actually doing something physical for you, for your body, so you can actually calm down. So a lot of people do it before they go to sleep because calming yourself down actually is one of the first steps to actually falling asleep. So
How much of that do you think is actually because of like being so preoccupied in our phones or in our computers?
oh my gosh,
All this stuff. It's like you think about like when you click on a file and it just takes a little bit longer to load.
And
like,
there's anxiety.
It's like anxiety like in your brain.
I probably people watching this video if they're like if the Wi-Fi
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
going fast enough,
Oh,
or it's
yeah.
not uploading fast
People are
enough.
just getting anxiety.
People are like,
watching this
"Come on,
video.
this isn't loading." You know?
That's probably, but like I guarantee that's got to have like a huge part of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you think about like poking around on a computer. Like I mean, sometimes you get really pissed and like on your phone and all this.
Yeah,
stuff.
getting angry at inanimate objects on a daily basis.
We listened to this
You do
really
that
good
a lot.
podcast in the car on the way back from Jersey, and it was a dude. I forgot his name. Do you remember his name, Marissa? It was like a dude on Rich Roll's podcast, and he was talking about how he's like he's done digital minimalism, like completely gets off of all technology and whatever, because he feels that the distraction is larger than the reward of missing out, or than the distraction outweighs the goodness of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that I thought was fascinating because he drew a lot of parallels to the Amish. And people think the Amish are just these dudes that like decided in 1717 that they were just done with technology or whatever. But it's like it's not true. In fact, what it really is the Amish value community much more than they value things that pull them away from community. So they look at like the intentional bond of their community, and if they introduce a technology, they have a council that votes on it.
Oh wow!
And that council determines if it's going to pull them away. So like vehicles would separate them. The urban sprawl movement, or the urban sprawl movement in the 20s, all these types of things showed evidence of separating the community instead of keeping it together. But then they'll have stuff like power tools or like other types of things that keep the community involved but are still beneficial. Mm-hmm. So it's like that's what he compares his digital minimalism to. It's like everything should have a very intentional purpose. Like he's almost impossible to get a hold of, but he's like a best-selling author. You know, and he does like believes word of mouth marketing is still the best type of marketing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's like I think that's really there's some truth to that, and I think things are going back that way. So like if you look at marketing in general, right? Email marketing was like the hugest thing from 2005 until really today. Everyone's talking about email marketing. It's like Marissa and I have been talking about like we'll go back to written letters, mailing to people, because that would actually be get in their hand and probably catch them. Like you look at your open or your click to open ratio in your email campaigns, and it's like 15%. But I bet you everybody would open the letter if you hand wrote a letter to them, or even just sent them a letter. You know what I mean?
It's rarer to get a handwritten letter now.
Today it is.
And like and there's direct mail companies work like that are trying to emulate handwriting so that people think it's a handwritten letter, but it's actually a direct mail campaign. There's actually another.
Yeah, I use those all the time when I'm wholesaling.
There's a company, I'm blanking on the name, that actually will. You can type something up and they'll handwrite it for you.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like the lazy way of handwriting.
They have like machines now
Yeah,
that
it's
actually
like
do calligraphy writing.
It's like penned or something like
which
that.
is great.
Yeah.
I can't spell or write.
Yeah,
shit.
I know. It's like because like in a handwritten letter you don't have Grammarly
Oh yeah.
and stuff to check
No
Excel.
spell check. I'm an engineer too, so
Yeah.
we don't write so good. You know, it's just.
We don't use the words.
But I think there's so much more value to giving someone a handwritten letter. I think it's really going to be beneficial for people to start doing that in their marketing. And I think the second piece is like, I think that all this noise around the social media movement, people forget about word of mouth. And like that's still the best form of marketing in my opinion. And like Marissa hasn't put a dime into marketing really until like this month when we shot some videos, you know, but like her entire business was built off just word of mouth.
Well, yeah, because when you actually talk to somebody in a conversation and mention something, that's like your word and like that person's reputation. That person, like if you value that person's opinion, you're gonna respect like who they referred. Like,
Right.
Like check this.
Referrals are still the most powerful.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. Like personal small entrepreneurship and business wise, referral is like a big deal.
Right.
Because it's a big way of getting into places where you want to be, and it's a lot of times it's like associating with the people that you want to refer you,
Right.
and getting to know them and getting their buy-in basically, and having great ambassadors for your business.
A great tactical tip for you guys too that want to start getting more engaged with your community is go Facebook, just go to your events, click on networking. You can do a thing where you can actually export your calendar of events in Facebook. You can take a link and you can import that into your Google Calendar and probably Outlook too. And you can actually see all of the Facebook events for that week pop up in your calendar, and you can start going to them. So like you can go to networking events, get out there in your communities, like just be a person, like get involved, get engaged. I think that's one of the best ways. That's always how I end up actually getting my clients.
Yeah.
Like people think it's my social media reach, it's my podcast. No, it's actually like getting out there and connecting with people.
I've gotten more business from just being somewhere at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Coffee shop most of the time.
What's up, everybody? This is your host, AJ Armstrong. You can follow me on Instagram at AaronArmstrong33. That's Aaron Armstrong 33, or you can go to my website, aaronjarmstrong.com. Thanks so much for listening through to the end. I wanted to also introduce you guys to our Facebook community. So you can go to Winners Wallets Worldviews on Facebook, and it's a group where we can offer, different opportunities for you guys to ask questions. If you have a Q&A or something in your business or a challenge in your life that you want to bring up, that's the community to ask it. And then I can also share that with all of our listeners on our social media platforms. The final thing I wanted to share with you guys is something that Marissa and I have been so excited for. It's been really chomping at me to freaking tell you guys. And it's our Personal Growth Ventures Retreat. So our Personal Growth Ventures Retreat is going to be located on the island of St. Lucia. It's going to be a business seminar combined with personal growth and development. And we're also adding in something nobody else has ever done in a seminar that I've heard of. And that's fitness and adventure. So these are the things that are going to help push us to our limits. It's going to help us break through our fears. And these adventures are going to be one of a kind. If you want to find out more about what our adventures entail, what's going to be involved in the education session, and where this is all going to be happening and when, you can go to our website, personalgrowthventures.com. That's personalgrowthventures.com. It's also going to be located in the show notes. So with that said, guys, thanks so much for listening through to the end. Once again, go be somebody.